right, there we go. All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 4. 4 weeks in. That's 1 month for those counting at home. Okay. Oh man, Sixers guy. Don't let Curry and your Warriors see that. Good game for the Sixers yesterday. But again, my name is Nick.
I'm Brandon.
All right. And again, welcome back, everybody. Glad to be with you as always. A lot of sports talk today. And then at the end, and if you want to zoom forward to the end, we're going over top sports video games for ourselves, our top 5 sports video games. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But let's just hop into things here. NBA, like we talked about last week, we had our picks there. It's getting started. And the big thing that's starting to been brewing, James Harden. Okay, Brandon, what do you got on some James Harden here?
Have you seen his tubby ass?
Hey,
he put on some pounds. He ate a lot of Thanksgiving dinner.
Riding a bike, baby. Shooter.
God damn. Hey, he is fat.
Hey, I heard he really enjoys going to buffets. Now, there might be some entertainment at those buffet places, but he does enjoy a good buffet.
If it's not a strip club, James Harden won't be there. We all know that. I got a story for you. I went to a game, March of 2017, 16. It was when the Sixers were really bad. I sat courtside, right? Sat right next to the cheerleaders. Guess who the Sixers were playing? The Rockets. This man, I swear to God, this man, James Harden, was staring at me. Because remember, I'm sitting right next to the cheerleaders. They're in the alley. I'm like the tunnel. I'm literally right there. James Harden's eyeballs the entire time staring at me. He wasn't staring at me. He was staring.
I was going to say, he ain't staring at you, buddy.
But he was like this.
Don't flatter yourself.
All day at the cheerleaders. That man, he's a horny guy. Very horny guy.
But to get on to some other news besides what that man likes to do and on and off the court, I think with all the trade talks going, in my opinion, it's all an act. I think he stays.
Oh, yeah, he stays.
Because obviously the West is tough, right? And here's the thing. He has hurt Houston from wanting to trade him because he said he wants out. Whenever that happens, you never get a good deal back.
No.
Obviously, the Anthony Davis thing worked out because the Lakers really, really wanted him. The teams that Harden wants to go to in the East, they're going to be good without him. They would be better with him, but they're already going to be good without him. So it's not like there's a necessity. If AD doesn't go to the Lakers don't do what they did last year. And again, would James Harden put the Sixers over the top? Yeah. Does he help out the Nets a lot? Yeah. But those teams are still going to be contenders without him. So again, he hurt himself there by being very vocal about it.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
If I'm Philly, I'm not giving up Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons for James Harden. For 2 years of James Harden at $50 million. I'm not doing it.
No. So we'll see how that works out. He's got John Wall there. And again, how that's going to work, I don't know. John Wall looked good in the one game. I did not see the highlights of the game they played together. But again, they didn't really play together because you don't play a full game.
No.
But James Harden's going to be good. And again, they were just showing on ESPN here. I was watching. Even though whatever he's doing off the court, when he's on the court, he's all business. So, and again, apparently the whole organization runs through him. And I'm not surprised when you have a superstar like that. Read that tweet today where the guy was like, if there was 2 days given off, James Harden was flying to every which way to go partying out. But guess what he did the next night? He was dropping 50. So at the end of the day, can you be hating him when he?
But you're not going to win an NBA championship like that. We've seen that. Look at the locker rooms and look at the past 5 winners. What do they all have in common?
The best players ever.
Well, James Harden's up there. I mean, they have that. It's chemistry. It is chemistry. LeBron forces chemistry on you. The Warriors naturally had chemistry. James Harden is destroying that team from the inside out. You can't win. Why do you think Houston doesn't win? Their chemistry is lacking. When you have a guy who ball hogs and ISO balls all day, you're not going to have chemistry. Who wants to play with that? I want to take the shot. I'm in the NBA. Why does James Harden get to take every shot?
I'm a James Harden fan. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he gets a bad rap. The man does like to go out and enjoy himself, but is that a knock on him? He has the money. He's 30, what, 1, 2, not tied down. Let him do what he wants to do. Again, if he's going on the court and dropping 50 and winning MVPs for you, I could care less what he's doing off the court as long as he's not doing illegal stuff. Do what you got to do, brother. You got the money. As long as you're going out and performing every night, guess what? That there's been bad locker rooms that have won. There has,
Very rare. It's
but
very rare.
and that's true. But again, it's not like they're horrendous locker rooms. It's sloppy. It's public news. He just complains a little bit, but he gets it done. So that's my take on the Harden thing. Who knows where we'll end up? I think he stays and just
I'll
kind
say.
of write out his career as being a perennial all-star scoring champ that like Melo.
Houston's going to be a 6-7 seed. I mean, that's what they're going to be.
That is. So staying on the NBA here, Curry looked pretty good last night. We were filming this on Wednesday. Looked pretty good on Tuesday there. But here's the big question. Can his shooting carry that squad? Obviously, you're going to have Draymond. You're going to have some other guys. But besides him and Draymond, who's going to step up? Who's going to be that guy talking to our
Wiggins?
Warriors fan here?
Wiggins and Oubre need to step up. I mean, Oubre, he shot 1 of 7 from 3, I think. He's going to have the looks. He's got to make them. I know Klay Thompson, career. Look, Klay Thompson, 40% or better from 3 every single year of his career since his rookie season. He's never shot under 40% from 3. I'm not saying Kelly Oubre and Wiggins have to shoot 40%, but they need to shoot 37 to 38% at least.
That ain't gonna happen. That's not them. They're gonna have to change their game.
We'll see.
They can't play same basketball as they always do. And I'm not saying they can't change the way they play, but they can't play.
I still think they need to shoot. They need to shoot well. They can't be inefficient.
Well, yeah, clearly. But two, who's gonna step up? Obviously, we said Oubre and Wiggins, but guess what is in the West? The 2 best teams in the West have 2 of the best big men in the entire league. So how does a team like the Warriors stop that? Is Wiseman really that guy? Because
we'll see. I know they're going to have to rely on Wiseman, and they're going to have to rely on Marquise Chris. Remember, Draymond Green won Defensive Player of the Year. He's no slouch. He can switch on to 5. Anthony Davis will eat Draymond alive. Other than that,
so will
he will.
Jokic.
Huh?
So Jokic for Denver.
I agree. I think Jokic and Davis are a mismatch for Draymond. Yes.
And guess what? That's a bad thing. It's not like we're going like feeding JaVale McGee. They're feeding literally the top centers in the league that score from jump shots in the post. And I think that's what hurts the Warriors, unless they're one of these teams that
let Wiseman do it though. Let him play. We don't know how he's gonna be. If he comes out and plays like Bam, then you gotta respect the Warriors.
But even if he plays like Bam, it's not this year, in my opinion.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be Bam. I doubt he will.
He's going to have a lot less pressure on him during the regular season, but he will get exposed in the playoffs. I bet he has a good regular season.
He's a rookie. I mean, come on.
But here's the thing. You got to pair a rookie with a guy that's descending in his career.
Now, remember that what I was just saying, locker room-wise, Curry's a great locker room guy. Draymond, believe it or not, is a great locker room guy. We'll see. Wiseman might develop. It's the unknown.
Well, I hope he does, because again, that would be great, right? That the Warriors, the shooting team, end up getting one of the better centers in the league. Yeah. I'm not saying Wiseman's going to be that, but if he does develop into that, God, can you imagine that? Now, again, by the time that might happen, Curry might be on the way out.
Klay might be done. Yeah, that's the issue.
Might be done right now. We'll have to see how he comes back, because one of Klay's best attributes is his defense, and I think that's done.
Well, Klay's also, Klay was 3rd in the league in miles ran last year. He doesn't just magically get open. That's what a lot of people fail to realize with the Warriors. Steph and Klay are as good as it comes off ball to try to get open, come around screens,
exactly.
do all the run. They work very hard to get open for threes. People think it's easy, like you just walk up and you stand in the corner and you get the ball past you. Hell no. That's not how Klay Thompson gets open. Watch some games.
Next we got, again, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Next we got John is signing $228.2 million. That's how much the contract's going to end up being worth.
Yeah.
A contract. Brandon, what's your take on that?
I like it, but I think Milwaukee needs a second star. Chris Middleton, not a second star. Drew Holiday, very good player. Great third player. I'd put Middleton as a 3B behind 3A. Drew Holiday, they needed two. They don't have one. Unless DiVincenzo develops this year, which, I'm rooting for the guy, but I doubt it happens. Nick, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They need another guy.
Team's still waiting on Winslow to develop here. All right. Cool tournament. Woo! Doesn't mean anything. I think this is a great signing by the Bucks to keep their best player, and that's it. Not to win a championship, nothing, because they will get exposed in the playoffs. Guess what teams are going to do to the Bucks? They're going to stack the middle, and they're going to say, "Go ahead,
not allow it,
brother. Go shoot." Because guess what? I understand. Here's the thing. He is Ben Simmons. The only difference is he shoots the threes. It doesn't mean he makes the threes. I've watched him plenty of times against the Sixers hit nothing but backboard.
Oh, he bricks all the time.
And again, well, he shoots it. Okay, guess what? I'll shoot a half court shot. It's the same difference. You know what I mean?
If you're Milwaukee and you're paying a guy $228 million,
it better be Aaron Rodgers.
You better learn how to shoot. That's all I'm going to say. You better learn.
You read my mind. I have written down literally right here is Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. You're really the next two guys up. You're gonna win.
I don't know.
No, they're not. So we'll see. So that's it for NBA. Obviously, we're gonna keep on getting more and more to NBA because it starts next week. Little shout out to my Sixers. Big showing first day with Doc. Ben Simmons and Embiid did their things. Embiid looks slim and is running the court. Slim. He is running the court, looking good. Shake Milton, that muscle showed a little something. 19 points last night. I really do.
Boy, Thibault.
I talked my boy Thibault, man.
You dropped him.
Thibault, if you see this, please come on. We'd love to interview you.
Yes, please.
Thibault, I think he might be. Man, we'll see. It's preseason. Guys are this is where they play with rotations. The thing that might hurt them this year is there's going to be a lot of guys on the Sixers that can be options. Here's my little Sixers talk. He might be odd man out. We'll have to see. But again, getting off of that, staying on basketball real quick. Tara Van Derveer, I want to say Van Derveer, the head coach of Stanford, passing Pat Summitt yesterday with her 1,099 win there. So
really, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
So pretty big thing in women's basketball yesterday.
Wow.
Obviously, WNBA is not starting for a little bit, so wanted to throw that out there. All right, on to the most interesting division in football. Brennan and I's favorite teams are in
one might call it the best division in football.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Cowboys fans, you might want to skip this because we ain't going to talk about you Cowboys. No one cares about the Cowboys right now. We're talking about three teams, two of them because they're in contention, one of them because it's funny what they're going through. All right.
Shout out Philly.
We'll start with my team here. The Washington football team, Chase Young, everybody, is just what you would expect from the number 2 pick. That's literally what we got there.
He was born in 1999. I think people forget that.
But here's my thing. How many times do these teams whiff, especially
all the time?
The Washington football team.
Jadeveon Clowney.
But he's doing what they all thought Jadeveon Clowney, which I knew was going to happen. He had an unblocked tackle.
For South Carolina.
Anyway.
Or first Michigan, I'm sorry.
Chase Young is everything that people thought and some.
Well, it's only been one season.
Montez Sweat.
To be fair.
Allen. Ioannidis has been hurt, and he's a great D-line.
Kerrigan.
So, again, Kerrigan, the list goes on.
Doesn't Ioannidis have 8 sacks? He has like an absurd amount. Ioannidis has like 7 or 8 sacks.
He's been hurt, too, this season. So, it's like they are just an abundance. And guess what? Even
Daron Payne.
an average secondary, which the Washington football team
Fuller.
have, even below average at times, I'd say. They get really good when there's pressure all the time on the pass game.
Well, everyone does.
And here's the thing too. And again, I know when we talk Giants, Brandon's going to be the one talking big time there. Um, Here's the thing that's going to hurt the Washington football team. When Smith is in, again, I don't know if he's winning you a ton of games, right? He's easily the comeback player of the year, but he's not losing you the games.
No.
Dwayne Haskins is losing you the games. The whole fact of how they took delay of game penalties while trying to take a knee and having to punt the ball away in that game to just not make it a clean win. That's what Haskins does. Listen, I'm an Ohio State guy. I loved watching Haskins, but he ain't it.
No,
And,
he's not good.
and
Not good at all.
Smith didn't practice today. If Smith doesn't play this week, I'm very scared because I do think they beat the Seahawks with Smith. With Haskins, they do not beat the Seahawks.
They have no shot.
I think Brian Flores is the coach of the year, but if Ron Rivera gets in the playoffs, it's easily Ron Rivera. I really believe that. He took a team that was in the bottom of the bottoms there, made a huge change to their first round pick the year before, brought in some other guys, and he said, we're going for the playoffs. And they're pretty much 2 games away, I believe, from getting the playoffs.
I take my hat off to Ron Rivera, but if the Giants make the playoffs, Joe Judge deserves it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think Joe Judge got a bad rap early, which might hurt him.
Taping tennis balls to
and
guys' hands and making coaches run laps.
I think that's the stuff that would hurt his voting, and people want to give it to Flores, which I'm a big fan of Flores.
I like Flores.
But I think Ron Rivera, with obviously everything he's had to deal with, the team being in shambles, where they started, and him beating cancer would be why he would win. And I'm not trying to say he's using cancer to win a coach of the year. I'm just saying that's how I just think it would work. All right, one we can both talk about here, the Eagles. Oh, man, it does not hurt to say Hurts is the guy. Let me tell you, Brandon, you can go ahead and start talking about something.
Well, I will start off. Here's a fun fact, great fact. Past 4 weeks, guess what division has the best record at 9-6? The NFC least? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Put some respect on the NFC East. Back to Philly. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Philly being Philly, how the hell did they pull that out of there? How did they beat the Saints? I honestly thought they were dead in the water.
Yeah.
Philly loves doing some bullshit Philly things.
Hurts running the ball is effective, right?
Get over 100 yards rushing.
So, like, is it Hurts? Is it that opened up Miles Sanders? That's why he looked good.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's the locker room not playing for Wentz. That's what it looked like to me.
And I talked about this in the pick show, and an Eagles fan that I work with was pretty much saying you can see the difference when they come off the field. Hurts is sitting there rallying around guys, talking about the game plan. And Wentz just kind of isolates himself, is looking at the plays, which again isn't a horrible thing. But in this situation, you want guys playing for you, playing for your leader. And that's what Hurts kind of has right now. So it's going to be interesting. Is Dougie fresh? Hey,
I don't like Peterson.
On the hot seat, right? Does he buy himself another year by starting Hurts and riding it out?
Yes.
Saying, hey, we have a whole new quarterback. I need a whole nother year to work with him.
If I'm Jeffrey Lurie, who I think that's the owner's name, I'm telling Peterson after this year, you're done with the play calling. And that's my opinion. I think he's bad. I don't like his play calling. He goes for it on fourth more than anyone, and it fails most of the time.
Harbaugh does it a lot.
Do you not watch Philadelphia Eagle games?
All right, Harbaugh does it successfully a lot.
I was about to say.
That's probably why you don't notice it as much. So again, it's kind of funny to watch the Eagles spend a bunch of money on a guy and then it not really work. So
well, people were like, "Why the hell are you drafting Hurts?" It was weird at the time, but maybe they're like, Wentz. Maybe we don't know a whole lot about Wentz. Maybe his injury is actually worse than we thought. It could be an Andrew Luck injury. It could be a Todd Gurley injury. Maybe he's not the same because his obviously mental with Carson Wentz. but maybe the reason he's so mentally distraught is because his injury. I don't know. I'm grasping for things,
And
but
it could be, again, going off, you said the injury. If you ever see like a pitcher get injured, sometimes, and they're kind of aiding to that injury, you see them missing the zone a lot. I feel like that's what Wentz is going through. He's missing his zone. He's always throwing high.
he's
His head
inaccurate. Yeah,
ain't inaccurate, but it's not like he's wide left, he's wide right. I feel like it's always high. So is that him babying the injury, him not falling through on that leg? I don't know. But you're right. Maybe it's a mental thing. He's babying it, and then that's where the sail throws come through.
I don't know. I think it's all mental.
All right, Brandon, and I'm going to let you take it away. I'll chime in a little bit.
Gotcha.
Go ahead on the Giants here.
All right. So last week versus the Cardinals, from the beginning, I mean, they turned it over in their own territory a few times. The muff punt won't help you. Or no, I'm sorry, the kickoff. The kick off, no pun intended. The guy illegally kicked Dion Lewis and the ball came out and it was a fumble. And then the guy, Dean Blandino, I love Fox. Oh, you can't kick the ball, but we can't review it. Well, why the hell not? Why can't you review everything in the NFL? And I think that should be a thing. You have the best replay system of all major sports, and you still can't replay whatever you want.
Are you chiming on one game or are you going to talk about the team?
All right. I mean, I'm all over the place. Now, the Giants, that was the worst time of possession I've ever seen an NFL team have. What the hell, Jason Garrett? Your fault partially. You played well. You made good calls all year. This was not a good game. Daniel Jones was clearly injured. You had the defense played well in the first half. That first drive, Daniel Jones sack, fumble, unblocked. Marcus Golden shout out. Was a Giant. Why'd you trade him to Arizona for nothing? Don't get it. We have no pass rushers right now. We had to sign a guy, Jabal Sheared, off of his couch. Why did you trade Marcus Golden, Dave Gettleman? He ends up sacking Daniel Jones, maybe injuring him, and he fumbles. I don't get it. I really don't. You never get rid of pass rushers in the NFL because there aren't that many good ones. Marcus Golden had 10 sacks for the Giants last year. You keep him. Anyway, their defense played well. Now, Arizona in the first half, guess what their average yardage was? The New York Giants, 48. They did not have the ball in their own territory in the first half. You know, you're a coach, you know, when your defense is constantly out on the field, and yes, they might be holding it for a while. It was like 6-0 for a while, or it was like a 1-score, 2-score game. But that second half, when they just kept feeding the ball to Kenyon Drake and they just kept running, the Giants have a good rush defense, but they were noticeably tired. They were on the field for 70% of the time. You will not win the game when your defense is on the field for that long and you're shorthanded as is. Yeah, you lost. Blake Martinez is beat up. You lost Kyle Fackrell, which is an edge rusher. You lost a couple more linebackers. You lost a guy in the secondary. Xavier McKinney's coming back from injury. Darnay Holmes, their slot cornerback's out. It was bad game planning. It just not good from the start, and that's why they lost. Now, I hope they change things up for the next week, but if they don't, they're not going to win. They pretty much have to win out at this point.
All right, ready? Psst, the flame is out on the Giants.
Because they play Cleveland.
I'm not saying it's because they're stinking. Obviously, the record might say that's a difference, but that's the NFC East this year. I think it's the Daniel Jones injury. And just like we're talking about with Wentz, I think it's going to affect them the rest of the year because I don't think he is going to be fully healthy the rest of the year. And he's a guy that uses his feet very effectively, and it's not going to work now. So I think that's what happens. Now, their defense is good, but if Daniel Jones is hurt and they don't have a guy like Saquon back there trying to take over the load,
I don't think rushing's the problem. Wayne Gallman has averaged over 4 yards a carry.
But why? Daniel Jones had been playing well. That's why.
With Colt McCoy, Gallman looked good.
Colt McCoy played well in that game.
I wouldn't say well.
I wouldn't say he played bad.
He didn't play bad, but he.
So
He didn't play good.
get back on track. If they beat the Browns, that will definitely propel them
Again,
for the rest of the
that
season.
all it takes is one win. It
But
takes one win to get him back on. And who knows? I just think that defensively they are good. I don't think that's the problem. The problem is offensively with the Giants. I'm not worried about the defense. You can't even I ignore last game.
so NFC East again, we'll have to see. It's going to be fun to watch. It really is because I think the
Yeah.
Eagles make it interesting. If the Giants can sneak out a win and Washington sneak out a win, obviously if Washington sneaks out a win, I think they're right there, driver's seat, because they will play Philadelphia at the end of the year. And they play the Panthers. And the
You
Panthers,
never know with the Eagles, man. We just saw last week. What the hell?
So
You never know with them. Honestly, all NFC East teams, you don't know what you're getting. Because one week you're like, damn, that team sucks. And then the next week you're like, what the hell? Why are they 5-7? Or like, seriously, you never know.
hurts those type of teams, those younger teams. But anyway, so that is our NFC East, least, beast, whatever you want to call it, talk there. Now, on
Want
to
to do the
college
Final Four?
football. That Final Four, and I think Brandon and I can both agree here. The Final Four, and this is going to be that I'm saying this is the order I think it's going to be, but in no particular order, honestly. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I have.
The Final Four, and I only say Notre Dame goes to 4. It's not going to be because Ohio State's better than them, but Ohio State's going to win the conference, the Big Ten title. And this is me saying Notre Dame loses. It's just going to be their way of saying, all right, well, we're going to move them back to 4th, but it's not really a close. 5th is not really close to them. We're just saying here's the top 4.
Here's something crazy. I have Notre Dame winning the game. Guess what my 4 are? Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State. I still have Clemson in there. I think.
Yeah, they're.
How do you leave it to 2 teams? Listen, if Clemson loses in 2 very, very, very close games, they deserve to be in the top 4 versus a team that Notre Dame would be undefeated, arguably 1A, 1B with Alabama at that point for the best team in the country, and Clemson lost in double overtime and a close game. They deserve to be in over Texas A&M. They deserve to be in over Cincinnati or Iowa State or whatever. I think Clemson's in regardless unless they get blown out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Texas A&M, they lost to Florida, who just lost to LSU.
But they didn't even play in their conference championship. How do you put Clemson under Texas A&M? I don't get that reasoning.
Now, and 2, again, I think it would take Ohio State to lose, but for Cincinnati to get in, it sucks Cincinnati's deal there, obviously, because they're not going to get in regardless. Because I think they're better than Texas A&M. I'll go out there and say that just because of how they've played and all that stuff.
I don't like Texas A&M. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying.
They're good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're top 4 good.
Rolling people would be cool to see them in there. So again, I think I have it written down. Only way A&M, Iowa State, or Cincy get in is if Ohio State loses. That's the one team. If they lose, all these other teams then have a chance, but I don't think that happens.
So you think Clemson gets in with 2 losses to Notre Dame?
I do.
I do too. I think they're
because it's a committee.
Easily one of the top 4 teams.
It's not a mathematical equation anymore. It's the committee. So
yeah. Clemson's good regardless.
And then the last thing I have about college football, there's going to be some high-profile jobs possibly open. I know one already, Auburn. Obviously, they think they're going to stay in house and possibly go defense coordinator. Why you do that? I don't know. It's COVID year. They must have already wanted Gus Malzahn out.
Why though?
Just new blood.
That's so dumb. New blood. Look at Nick Saban.
I know.
I don't get that.
I know and especially a weird year, right?
I think Malzahn's good.
Bo Nix is having the sophomore slump. Okay, cool. I know you say he sucks. I think he bounces back next year. We'll have to see. But to Michigan,
oh yeah, that'll be open.
Keep going, or is Harbaugh out? I think out. Michigan, another high-profile spot that can go up there, and then Penn State. Did what's his name save his
Franklin?
job? Did Franklin save his job there, winning these past couple weeks? I don't know, but
I
you know
don't think
the
he should
job
get the
is
chance.
open. Vanderbilt. Now, I want to talk about Vanderbilt, right? So Vanderbilt is in the toughest conference up there with the Big Ten and ACC in college football, right? You got to play Alabama's, LSU's, Texas A&M's, list
Florida,
goes on and on, Florida. Um,
Georgia.
but Vanderbilt is in Nashville, a very popular city
It's
in
a
the U.S.,
great academic school.
a great academic school, a great campus. I don't know if you've ever been
Yeah,
there. I've been there before. Great campus. Like, is that not a desirable job for
it should be.
I'm not saying the North Dakota State coach, but like a guy like that, right? That's killing it at a low double A school or maybe a very high profile assistant. Why wouldn't Vanderbilt be a spot that someone's like, they have everything, but the recruiting here's the thing, they don't need to go for a high profile guy. They shouldn't get the Alabama, and this is my opinion. They shouldn't get the Alabama assistant, the Ohio State assistant type guy. They should get the guy like the North Dakota State or a guy that, or even a smaller school, right? Like Cincinnati. Can Fickle go to Vandy? Because
Yeah,
you're not going to get these 5-star recruits at Vandy. Let's be honest. They're going to probably go to Tennessee, which is a shame because Tennessee
I
is
don't get
horrible
that though. I don't get that. How does
because
Tennessee?
of the
Why are they in
facilities
the
and all
top
that.
10 every year in recruiting?
And here's the thing, exactly. Vanderbilt needs that guy like a PJ Fleck. Obviously, Minnesota's struggling this year, but that can get some 3-star, 2-star, 1-star athletes, the
And
diamonds in
turn
the
them
rough,
in.
and develop them, bring them in. And that's what those type of teams do, right? It's not that phenomenal freshman. It's that junior and senior that was a 2-star that is now fully developed into an adult and playing
Yes,
grown man football. That's my little
exactly.
soapbox talking about Vandy. I think Vanderbilt's a cool spot if they get the right coach in there.
Right. It's a good point. Nashville, what an up and coming city. Why I don't get why Vanderbilt's so bad. You
And there's good
and
pro football there now.
well, here's now the only thing that I can think about. Some of these kids that are going to your Alabamas, your LSUs, your Floridas, the 5-star recruits, a lot of them didn't care about it. I'm not saying they're dumb because some probably are very smart, but a lot of them didn't care about academics and they couldn't get into your Vanderbilt. Listen, Vanderbilt is, besides Ivy League, it's up there. It's with Northwestern, it's with Stanford, it's with Cal Berkeley. These are very good schools that are not Ivy League that and Notre Dame as well. It's hard to recruit for those schools. Remember, you got to get in. They don't just allow anyone in.
Yeah, but it's not like their baseball pro. And I know we're talking Vanderbilt. Why the heck are we talking Vanderbilt so much? But again, I think it's just an interesting spot. Their baseball team gets it done, and some other
True.
sports also get it done.
That's fair.
Basketball's had
Basketball's not good.
they've had some decent years, but like
Maybe
Vanderbilt,
like 10 years ago.
again, I just don't see it as a spot where they could really get a steal with, like, you're telling me some of these schools like the North Dakota State type of guy can't go to Vanderbilt. And
I think North Dakota State should be in the Big 12.
I mean, North Dakota State competes with some of the best schools, but again, they get guys from Florida. So you're telling me that wouldn't be a
They
good
get
spot?
guys from everywhere. They seriously should be. They would be third in the Big 12 this year or
Yeah,
second.
or like maybe the guy from Coastal goes there. I don't
You
know,
never know.
Coastal or Louisiana Lafayette, one of these schools that are having a great year. Maybe they get that. Who knows?
Well, do you remember Florida Gulf Coast Cinderella year in basketball?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Well, the coach left for USC basketball after that. Hasn't done shit. But remember, USC, why wouldn't you want a USC basketball job?
Yeah.
You're in Los Angeles. It's a basketball town because of the Lakers. Great move by the guy. It didn't work out, no, but I mean, why
Yeah,
wouldn't you
and
do it?
Vanderbilt's in a spot too where they could hire a high profile guy, and by high profile, I mean a guy that's had success at a lower school and has made really good players out of not great, stars. But again, we'll get off the Vanderbilt. We probably just talked about Vanderbilt 5, 6 minutes, but probably the only talk show you'll hear besides the
Talk
Nat
about
that's talking
Vanderbilt.
about Vanderbilt like that. But again, I just think it's a cool question to talk about. Um, all right, well, everybody, actually, we are on our last topic of the day. Again, trying to keep it short for y'all. And two, this is besides college football, NFL, and just a little bit of preseason NBA. That's all that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to talk about today was top 5 sports video games in our opinion, like our favorites. Again, it's not the best ever, but these are our most fun. So Brandon, I'm gonna let you go first. You tell me your top 5.
All right, I'll start off. I have 6, so I'm going to do an honorable mention. And I know you'd appreciate this game. A lot of people would. NCAA College Baseball 2006 with the Texas Longhorn guy on the cover. You know how fun that game was. We used to play the hell out of that game in the summertime. That was a great game. So that's my honorable mention. Just had to give that a shout out. I love college sports games, which is a foreshadowing. My number 5, I have NBA 2K14. That was the one with LeBron James on the cover. I just played the absolute hell out of that. My senior year in high school, I got out at 10:30, and I'd come home and I'd play my player, and then I'd have my team, and I'd go to Walmart and get like 100 VC. I would play. I love that game just because I had all the time in the world to play. I wish I could go back to those days where I had no responsibility. I could come home and play video games all day. Can't do that anymore. But number 4, MVP Baseball 2005 for the GameCube with Manny Ramirez on it. God, man, that game was so fun. You could play in the Polo Grounds. I could be out there playing with Hannes Wagner if I wanted to. I love that game. That was like the first game that I recall for baseball that you could play with all these old legends and all these cool ballparks. So that was really cool for me. My number 3, NCAA football 2004, Larry Fitzgerald on the cover. Can you believe Fitzgerald left college in 2004? He's still playing in the NFL. When I was researching this, I knew he was on the cover. It's him in his Pittsburgh #1 jersey.
Yep.
But it blows my mind. The guy is still. I was 8 years old when that game came out, and this guy is still in the NFL. I'm almost 25. I mean, that's impressive. By the way, that game was so fun. Braylon Edwards, Michigan. All you had to do was throw a Hail Mary. The dude caught it every single time. It was unfair. But number 2, backyard baseball. And I want to say, everyone says Pablo Sanchez is the best. He is. I'll admit it. But who's underrated? Pete Wheeler. Very underrated backyard baseball guy. Same thing with Ahmed Khan. Very underrated. Those guys hit dingers. And my number 1 sports game, you know what it is. It's GameCube Mario Super Sluggers Baseball. That's the greatest sports game of all time. And I rest my case.
All right. Well, if you guys can imagine, Brandon and I are going to have some very similar picks because we did grow up together and played these video games the whole time. So my honorable mention is actually going to be that backyard baseball. Great times playing some backyard baseball, hitting those balls that you would hit the ball into the ground and then it'd pop up somewhere. Playing on that barn field where the wind's blowing,
Yep.
tornado in the ball, all those things. Very similar to one of my favorite games of all time. Again, this is in no order. Mario Baseball, like Brandon said. Find me with Donkey Kong, big part of the game.
Bowser,
Anytime, as
man.
well as pitching with that big
Waluigi.
sidearm looking like a jacked Chris Sale or a Randy Johnson there. Find me any day playing with Donkey Kong in any of those Mario games.
Waluigi is the best pitcher in that game.
He is a good pitcher. Next, I'll go NBA 2K. I'll say any of them. The 2K11 with Jordan on the front.
That was a good one.
But again, I still play it. 25 years old. I'm still playing my player. Find me on the court with the bald guy with the thick beard. That's usually my guy there. Okay. Next, like Brandon said, MVP baseball. Again, we have similar list here because again, we played them all when we were younger together. But again, MVP 05, Brandon, does Katie Roy remind you anything?
No.
That was the code that unlocked everything. So if you
I didn't cheat. I just beat it myself.
No, I played the cheat code because it unlocked all the historic guys, all the historic fields.
I did it myself.
Yeah, I didn't do it myself. I put in Katie Roy every time I played. But there's different codes. I even looked it up today. Things like you can put in a code for a short player with a big bat who will hit home runs or really hard line drives every at bat, no matter what his stats are. Just little things like
That
that
was
that
a fun
make the
game.
game more fun.
Yeah.
Again, like Brandon said, great soundtrack too. If anybody ever gets a chance, look that up. Next, I got NCAA football '05 with Larry Fitzgerald on there.
Oh,
Okay.
that was '04, I thought. I
No,
could be wrong.
it was '05 based off the '04 season. And
Gotcha.
one
All
of the
right.
things was my dad would get pissed. My dad would be nice and play with me on
I
that
would
game.
always play with my dad too.
And he would play that. The cool thing, they had all the back when it was D1, single A, and double A there, which is FCS, FBS now. We play as like University of Delaware.
You could be Dell State versus Delaware. I used to
Yep.
play that all the time.
My dad, so we had Eastern Kentucky, and they didn't have the current rosters of those teams. So we always swore it was an all-time team. My dad played at Eastern, All-American there, and one of their linemen was number 74, which he was in college. So he always picked them. But he would get mad because I'd play as like Delaware against them and just throw Hail Mary every single play, and it'd be come down with it every single time.
I know.
That's there. And then just like Brandon said, there's no excitement here, but I don't have some surprise pick. MVP 06 NCAA baseball. The calls on that
You're
game
kidding me.
were
We had the
great.
same.
You could play with so many different teams. Me, Brandon, our buddy Kyle Mace there would play all the time there. Again, just a great game. You just sat there and played all the time. Another good game that we always played too. Any Mario sports game, Wii Sports, all those type of things, man, were good. You notice we didn't say Madden. I was
I
never
don't like
a fan of
Madden.
Again, I know very popular game, but just not my
I can't believe we had the same exact games. All 6.
Yep.
I mean, that's unbelievable. I will give another shout out to Mario and Sonic at the Summer Olympic Games and the Winter Olympic Games.
That's not a bad one.
Those 2 games, super fun. I love those games.
And one game I was going to say, but I didn't really think of it as sports, was Mario Kart, but I don't really see that sports game.
I mean, I wouldn't count.
But we're talking sports like, baseball,
That is sport.
football, basketball. So that's our pick. Again, you and I aren't big FIFA guys anyway.
No.
So, yeah, that's all we got. So that's a wrap, everybody. That is episode 4. We've been in it for a month here. I've been having a blast. My name is Nick.
I'm Brandon.
And peace out. We'll see you next week for a nice holiday edition.
Oh, yeah, Christmas.
Sports Talk. So be ready for
Santa.
All right, everybody.